But what are you looking for? And during the bowl week, right? Because it gets kind of weird. You have a little time off. There it goes. A little time off before, like after the end of the season and the bowl game, right? And then Christmas happens, and you got to practice through Christmas usually, correct? Or you maybe get a day off or something during Christmas. Yeah. And then you have
just depends on
the
what
bowl.
the game is.
What goes into the preparation of bowl week, or I guess the bowl 2 prep. Weeks, bowl prep? Is it weird to get back going? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not really. I mean, you don't have that much time off. Like, I think what they took off 1 week completely of doing nothing, or was it maybe 2 weeks completely of doing nothing? Kind of let the body recharge a little bit. Then you'll get back into it. Obviously, it depends on what day your actual bowl game is, but the bowl prep it's different because it almost kind of works as like the summer camp in the first game of the year, right? Like you have so much time to prepare for one opponent, so you kind of get a little more time to kind of fine tune things that you've seen that they do. And I won't say practices are drawn out; they're just, from my experience of them, they're just more detail oriented to what that team does at obviously a much earlier pace. But unlike summer, like when you're trying to do your own install and stuff, you kind of have a good amount of time to actually prepare for that team.
Do a lot of guys, like when you're prepping, right? Because like bowl season is, okay, kind of, I don't want to call it an exhibition because unless you're in the playoff, but if you're not in the playoffs, it kind of is like an exhibition. You want to win, you want to go out and you want to play well, but it also is like almost a showcase for the next season, right? Like you have guys that are going to leave, whether they've announced or haven't announced or have announced and going to play. Like these guys, are probably gone. Or guys that are saying, hey, like B.J. Ojolari, I'm going to go to the draft, but I'm not going to play in the bowl game. Now you have an opportunity for guys who really haven't had significant roles or maybe played all the time to come out and make an impression. Have you seen, at least in your experience when you were playing, did you have a lot of guys? Did you have guys that were kind of second on the depth chart, had some sparingly, like played sparingly throughout the course of the year, and then the bowl game hit, and then like damn, they kind of like took that next step and like really jump started into the next year? You know what I mean? Like, do people use the bowl game as that, or is it like more of? I mean, what you see is what you're probably going to get.
Well, nowadays in the playoff system and NIL, yeah, that's exactly what you get. Old days, no, that wasn't a thing at all. It was, you're pretty much still getting the same team that ended the regular season. And from my experience with it as well, it was, you got to remember, it was Sugar Bowl with a 2-loss team, national championship, and then we had the, I think, 4 or 5-loss team, I think. That played Georgia Tech, all right? Yeah. So my experiences of it was, like basically New Year's Bowl, another New Year's Bowl, or after New Year's Bowl. So we were, in a pretty late and significant game, so that wasn't really a thing. Yeah. But that's become more of a thing recently now where it's, you got the BJs out. Well, somebody's got to play in BJ's spot, right? So that's where you see, just like you said, here's a month, basically another camp to give that next guy who's possibly next, like, hey, here's your audition.
So who would be next? Do you know who would be next behind?
Xavier Jones.
Xavier Jones, right? And then there's another one. I know, obviously,
Wiggins,
but
he'll probably play.
He play a little bit, and then you have
he played in 4 games, but the NCAA passed a waiver to where that won't take.
Right, which is great. Would have been nice last year. We could have used us in the bowl game.
Yeah,
but
so
of course
Wiggins will
not.
get to play. I know there's some of the freshman defensive backs like LaTerrence Welch will get to play because Mikkie Gardner's not playing in the bowl game.
What about the other? Isn't there another defensive end? Is it Carter, or is it? Isn't there another defensive end that's a kind of a monster on LSU's team? Not Savion Jones.
Quincy Wiggins.
Outside of Quincy Wiggins, is there someone else, or am I just making a name up? Maybe I'm making a name up in my head. Maybe so. Who knows? Anyway, it's gonna be nice to see these guys kind of take a role of. A more in-depth role on the defense and seeing what they can do because obviously they're hoping to be a big part of the defense come next year. Offensively, I think you're going to see a lot of the same that you've seen through the course of the year, right? Obviously, depending on who's playing quarterback, if Jaden's going to be able to go or not, it seems like he's going to be able to go.
And that was going to be my question to you is do you think that it feels like he's kind of wants to use this almost experimentally whenever we were saying – I'd like to see LSU not lose 3 in a row, but
you don't have much of a chance if BJ says, "Hey, I'm out."
Oh, I know, but no, that's what I'm saying. Does it change the tune of what they're kind of trying to go into? Like,
I think
started Jaden Daniels.
I think they're still trying to win it at all costs. they're just gonna have to use who they have. You're not gonna have a BJ, so it has to be the next guy up. You know what I mean?
I will
Like
say
that's
they're not as hurting as some other teams were. Like Florida went out there and it was like, whew.
Well, Florida seemed like they were like kind of like us last year, where they didn't have a lot of their starters. They were just throwing out a team just to have a team.
Purdue's
Just reset.
Purdue's in
Yeah,
the same
Purdue's
boat.
obviously going to
Right.
be shorthanded.
No
Their
quarterback.
starting quarterback's not playing, and their best receiver's not going to be playing.
And
They
their
both
coach ain't there.
and their coach is gone.
right.
So they have.
But they got Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew's doing it. Drew's going to be the assistant coach.
He is going for the what
How
is
much
it?
coaching is Drew actually going to be doing? Do you think?
I think that was just like
A recruiting
Purdue.
play.
Hey, you're going to be like technically you're like the guest captain kind of thing, but
I
like
think they just needed some good news, and he was like, "I'll step in." It's like, oh, if you're Purdue, you're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," because they have nothing going for them right now in terms of you lose your coach, then you lose your basically your assistant coach, then your quarterback.
do they have
opts
the line out yet of LSU game?
Oh yeah,
What is it?
it went from 7 to 14.
Hmm.
Where have you not bet it
I
yet?
haven't bet it yet. I know you got it at
The
7.
road to 2K
With
continues.
that question, sounds like he has not bet it.
You got it at 7.
Mhm.
Good for you. I'm happy for you.